You ever wonder why we never see videos of any of the planets? I'm talking about real-time or live video footage of any of the planets from NASA. Don't you guys ever wonder? I mean, they have thousands of satellites and probes and magic flying space telescopes, and yet they cannot show us live video footage of any of the planets in real time. But yet I've done it from here on Earth many times from my amateur telescope. If you were to go to Google and search for a live or real-time video of Jupiter, this is what you're gonna see. And it's from NASA, a flight over Jupiter. Or is it? You must read the fine print. All right, seriously, check this out. This video uses images from NASA's Juno mission to recreate what it might have looked like to ride along with the Juno spacecraft as it performed its 27th close flyby of Jupiter on June the 2nd, 2020. You mean to tell me this Juno spacecraft with all these cameras on board flew by it 27 times and never took any video? I mean, like never live streamed it, never recorded like even 3 minutes of real video footage of Jupiter up close. They had to take a bunch of images and recreate what it might have looked like using CGI and animation. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. How does anyone still believe that space travel is real? NASA can't show you a live or raw video footage of Jupiter, but I can. Their budget is approximately $70 million per day. I have no budget. I had to save up my own money to buy my telescopes and cameras. That's okay, guys. Since NASA can't show you a real video of Jupiter, I will. And my telescope is a beast on Jupiter.
I just did some research on the Space Force because I was watching the NFL draft and they said members of the Space Force. So I'm looking through the internet, trying to find a recruiting video or what their basic training and stuff look like. Come to find out, the Space Force is a joke. All it is the Air Force has a cyber division. A cyber security division. They ain't training out in space or don't have no spaceships or none of that stuff like the name would imply, Space Force. So if y'all think y'all going to join the Space Force and go out in space and all the rest of that, it's a joke.
Let's talk about NASA. So NASA makes about $20 to $22 billion a year. It's made over $600 billion since its inception. And they can't get to the moon again? Literally thousands of scientists and employees, and they can't figure it out? On all the live feed videos, you see things darting across the screen and they can't answer what those things are. Aliens aren't real. They don't exist. But if aliens existed, I guarantee you they are 100% militarized. I saw the SpaceX car that was in some kind of room with cameras and like a green screen background. So they didn't really launch a Tesla into space and it's all fake. What's up with that? So John Baird made the first TV and broadcasted from England to the United States. Transatlantic from London to New York in 1928. So technically TV's been around for 96 years. And cameras and video cameras have been around for a very long time as well. And we don't have any confirmed video of extraterrestrials or their vehicles that are like manned or operated somehow. I find that suspicious. I see all these people on here talking about how, the spiritual awakening and aliens and all this stuff. It's like, where's the proof? We don't even know what we are as humans, like where we are or what is actually going on. And these people have this information like, oh, it's a spiritual awakening. I don't think so. I think people are naturally good and they want to hope that, and that's great, but there's no proof. If there's aliens out there and you're receiving any kind of data from me, I give you permission to come and talk to me. Otherwise, you're not real and the government's hiding you because you're not real.
You know, everyone talks about Einstein like he's this great genius that changed the entire world and, figured out science for everyone. But did you realize that the dude is a complete imposter, set up and propped up by the elite trust fund dorks that we always talk about? Exactly. In reality, he's no different than this trust fund dork right here. Just another so-called genius propped up to steer mankind in the Malachian trust fund dork style. One thing's for sure. If it's his story, history, it's definitely not our story. Let's figure it out together.
It's not looking good, bro. All satellites are just on high-altitude balloons.
Freedom is a scam. It's a free world. It's a free country. You're free to do what you want. Bullshit! As soon as you're born, you're jabbed dozens of times without your consent. And then you're signed away to the government via a birth certificate and given a number. Freedom! You don't have the choice whether or not you want to go to the educational indoctrination system, aka school. If you don't, your parents will get in trouble, fined, or worse. Freedom! And if you want any kind of prosperity in this system, you have to pursue predetermined jobs by studying predetermined subjects and learning about predetermined theories. Freedom! You would then get a job which will determine what time you need to go to sleep, what time you need to wake up, what time you get to yourself. In fact, if you want to do anything in between the 8 to 12 hours you're working, you will need to get permission. Freedom! They own all the land, airspace and sea space. So if you want to move or travel anywhere, you have to get the permission first. If you want a roof over your head, you have to do it via the system. You need to get a mortgage or start paying rent in a predetermined location and a predetermined house. Even though there's all this empty land everywhere. Freedom! You sit down and watch your TV and you are force-fed with their agendas and propagandas. Any independent news outlets or journalists are quickly and swiftly cancelled. Say anything that goes against their narrative and you will soon find yourself shadow banned at best and at worst in jail. Just take a look at good old Charlie Boy's recent coronation. All the peaceful protesters were arrested. Freedom! Freedom is an illusion in the new world. Look, man, they own everything that you need to survive. The water, the food, heating, electricity, the land. And if they could, they'd probably tax you on the air that you breathe. Just think about it. They're rolling in these 15-minute cities, which will restrict how far you can travel outside your zone. And then they're rolling in electric cars, which can be programmed to stop outside the 15-minute zone. And then you got the electronic money, CBDC, which can also be programmed to not allow you to spend money outside your 15-minute zone. One of the definitions of a prisoner is someone who is or who feels confined or trapped by a situation. And I'm guessing that's 99% of you watching this right now. So next time you're humming along to George Michael, Freedom, I won't let you down. Don't forget that.
The retirement cycle is exactly what it says. The infinite blood-sucking time loop that we are all programmed to follow. You are born to a social security number. Then you're indoctrinated through Rockefeller education. If you choose not to go, your parents go to jail. After you are all programmed up, you are ready to pay to learn how to work for somebody else. After you learn how to do that, you make your way into adulthood. Congratulations, you did it, debt slave. Now you work that 9 to 5, have a family, and pay your bills. When your kids grow old enough, you send them through the exact cycle that you just went through, not even second guessing it. Time goes on, and you become old. Retirement. After being a slave your entire life, you can now live out the rest of your decaying days, sitting and doing nothing. This is called the retirement cycle. You, as well as everyone you know, is going through it right now.
Is the Earth flat or round? There are two ways you can look at this scenario. One is the way we were taught in school, which told you science is their God, and you couldn't mention your spiritual beliefs, and they would not let you debate that science could be flawed on global Earth. Science says this is fact, and that's fact. Yet, not one scientist has been able to explain what gravity is. That's a fact. Universities are still debating the question. Go look it up. So can we trust science and what they tell us? Well, that depends on your ability to think critically. The school system has a purposeful flaw where you have to learn to earn a grade, but debating their theory is out of the question because by the time it becomes a question for you to answer, they say it's already proven fact. I think school would be much better if each question can be debated. The idea of searching for answers other than what we are told to believe and think gives us a sense of adventure and could possibly be fun to learn about any certain topic. But schools are designed to make debtors. It's the current system we live in. The more you make, the more you spend. And the more you spend, the more you pay taxes. Consumerism is no different than a jail with a car and a vacation here and there and whatever food you would like to eat. So if we are not taught to question our professors, our teachers, or receive a degree or diploma for their passing rule, then isn't it safe to say that what they have taught us all along is for their gain and not ours? So, the globe view is as follows. You are living on a warped ball the shape of a pear spinning on its axis at 1,000 miles per hour and flying through space at 67,000 miles per hour. At the same time, if you look at the ground straight down and over 7,926 miles below, someone is upside down as you are right side up. Bink, boonk. The speed of the planet doesn't affect the nature of things because of centripetal force, and our atmosphere, although damaged by pollutants, still holds everything together. A pilot can set their autopilot program on and not steer the plane, while it supposedly is programmatically can calculate 8 inches per mile each time the curvature takes place. Because otherwise you would eventually fly off into space, right? Unless you put your nose down. So with autopilot off at 460 miles per hour, you have to adjust the nose downward every 7 minutes. That's the math, I think. I could be wrong. I have spoken to many pilots, however, and they don't do that. In fact, when they nap on autopilot, the plane does not adjust its nose. So it's not round, right, James? Well, I didn't say that, but the calculations for the globe doesn't seem to match with many things. It's definitely debatable, and it's something fun to do. Space shouldn't be reachable. There is a firmament on top about 80,000 feet up that we cannot penetrate. Operation Fishbowl allegedly was a nuclear test to try and break through it. Of course, we can't prove it, but the name of the operation speaks volumes. The Bible mentions a firmament. Genesis 1, 6 through 8 says, "And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament." And it was so. I believe the United Nations flag tells a really big clue. The entire world is flat on that flag. It's not a ball. So don't get upset at a flat earther. They are using critical thinking and know something isn't right. They know the math isn't adding up. They are on the truth quest that we are all on.
Don't you find it weird that the only place that they find UFOs is in America? Here's a map of all the reported UFO sightings in the past 100 years. It's all in America and some in England. Either aliens don't like brown and black people, or America is full of shit. I'm leaning more towards the idea of racist aliens, but perhaps we may need to fall back and start investigating whether or not America is just doing this to manipulate us. Because I never heard no brother from Afghanistan talking about we have a new UFO sighting. It just doesn't happen.
Take you apart. I'll put us back together at heart, baby.